Let me be completely honest. There's a lot of real estate agents don't tell you about living near Washington, D.C. I'm talking about the stuff that hits your wallet every single month, the daily realities that can make or break your experience here, and some quirks about the city that'll have you saying either, I love this place, or get me out of here within your first year. So today, we're gonna dive into the real numbers, the hidden costs, and the good, the bad, and the downright expensive parts of calling this area home. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the big one, the cost of living. This is where most people get their first reality check, and honestly, it's a doozy. DC's cost of living is 50 to 53% above the national average. That makes it the fourth most expensive metro area in the whole United States. But here's where it gets even crazier. Housing costs are 122 to 142% above the national average. That's not a typo. Let me break it down with some real numbers that might make your head spin. Single-family, detached homes have a median price around $1.3 million. Row houses and townhomes are a bit more accessible, hitting $585,000 to $700,000. I call these the middle market sweet spot, but even that's way above what you pay in most other parts of the country. And if you're thinking condos could be your entry point, you're looking at $500,000 to $585,000 for median prices. Still a hefty chunk for what you get. But if these numbers surprise you, wait until you hear about DC's traffic. I'll show you what it really means for your day-to-day life and your wallet in just a few minutes. Now, the average annual personal spending in DC is $92,037. Housing and utilities alone account for $16,481 per year, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. That's more than some people make in an entire year in other parts of the country. I'm not trying to scare you, but this is the reality you're working with. And that's just the start, because there are plenty of other costs that pile on top of these base housing expenses. Okay, before we dive into those hidden costs that can really hit your monthly budget, if you want to make smart real estate decisions in this market, you need to stay on top of all intel that can save you thousands. That's exactly what I do on this channel. I break down the real numbers, the insider strategies, and the market moves most agents won't tell you about. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any content that could be the difference between a smart buy and a costly mistake. Speaking of costs that add up, let's talk about something that catches almost everyone off guard: car ownership in DC. This is where it gets intense, and most agents skip over the details because they don't want to overwhelm you at first. But I'd rather you know what you're getting into because the numbers are pretty staggering. First up, parking. If you live in an apartment and want covered garage parking, you're looking at $263 every month. That's on top of your rent. Uncovered surface parking runs about $140 a month, which is still a big chunk of your budget. And if you're thinking you'll just use street parking to skip fees, good luck with that. Street parking meters cost $2.30 per hour, and residential permit parking covers over 105,000 spaces. So non-permit holders usually only get 2 hours on weekdays before they risk a ticket. Then there's auto insurance, which is way higher than the national average. Full coverage policies average about $1,679 per year, compared to the national average of $1,296. Minimum coverage, liability only, runs around $845 annually. That difference alone can eat into your budget fast. And speak of surprises about living here, there's something about DC's social scene that most people do not expect. I will explain what that is in a bit. Now, here's another shocker. The city brings in over $60 million a year just from parking violations. Trust me, I know. That's not a mistake, that's aggressive enforcement. So between insurance, parking, gas, maintenance, tickets, you're easily spending $400 to $500 a month just to own a car in DC. That's like a car payment before you even count your actual loan or lease. And that's not even the worst part. Those fees and insurance costs are nothing compared to what you lose sitting in DC traffic. Let me show you why this city just earned the title of worst traffic in America. Honestly, traffic in DC has gotten so bad it's making national headlines for all the wrong reasons. DC officially overtook Los Angeles as the city with the worst traffic in America in 2025. Yeah, you heard that right. We beat LA for the worst traffic, which is pretty wild when you think about how much smaller DC is compared to LA metro area. Here are the numbers that might make you rethink your commute completely. The average commute in DC is 33.4 minutes, the longest in the United States. But daily congestion lasts more than 6.5 hours on weekdays. This isn't just rush hour anymore, it's extended gridlock that can trap you almost any time of the day. The annual time lost to traffic is about 62 to 71 hours per commuter. Think about that. That's nearly 2 full work weeks spent sitting in traffic every year. and the economic impact comes out to more than $1,000 per person annually in lost time and fuel. That's money literally burning while you're stuck on 495 or GW Parkway. But here's where it gets even worse. Those return to office mandates after the pandemic made traffic heavier. Vehicles entering the city daily increased by 6% post-mandate, and rush hour has stretched far beyond the traditional 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. windows. Now, you can hit traffic at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday or 7 p.m. on a Thursday. The unpredictability is what frustrates people. You might have a 25-minute commute one day and a 55-minute commute on the exact same route. And here's something agents won't tell you. Metro reliability issues make all this worse. Even with a 98-station, 129-mile, 6-line network, service disruptions and maintenance delays push more people back into their cars, making traffic even heavier. But here's the thing, traffic isn't the only thing that'll test your patience in DC. Let's talk about DC's weather, because this is one area where reality can be way different from what you expect, especially if you're moving from somewhere else. Summers get really extreme and can be hard if you're not ready for them. We see about 22 days a year where it hits 90+ degrees or higher, up from roughly 16 days in the 1981 to 2010 period. So things are definitely heating up. But it gets worse. We also still average fewer than 1 day per year above 100 degrees, though in 2024 the thermometer reached triple digits twice. In 2024 alone, multiple days saw heat index values over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the more oppressive summers on record. But what makes it worse is the humidity stays high and city neighborhoods can feel up to 10 degrees hotter than the official temperature. So when the weather app says 95 degrees, it might feel like 105 degrees in your area, especially where there's a lot of concrete and not many trees. But if the weather worries you, here's the thing. There's actually a really good reason people deal with all of these challenges and costs, and I'll get to that in a bit. Now, winter has its own surprises that catch new people off guard. Big snowstorms shut down federal offices and public schools and cause big economic problems across the area. The kicker is it can take 1 or 2 days to get all the roads cleared and working again. This is not like northern cities that handle snow really well, but even moderate snow can cut Metro bus routes from 193 down to 114 under the agency's moderate snow plan. So even if you do not drive, you still have fewer transportation options when it snows. Allergy season, oh my God, is another thing that surprises a lot of new people. It runs from March to November, much longer than most places, and it is intense. Peak times are April, June, and September with the highest pollen counts. Right now, tree pollen is moderate to high, and anything above 90 is very high. Dealing with allergies for 8 or 9 months a year affects your daily comfort and your healthcare costs. Besides all the weather stuff, there is something about DC's social scene that makes living here feel very different from most cities. I'm talking about the revolving door effect that changes your neighborhood vibe and your social connections. Okay, so let me give you some numbers to show you how much people move in and out of here. The DC metro area has about 283,000 federal employees, and in DC itself, federal employees make up 24.6% of all jobs. But there are hundreds of thousands more who work federal contractors across the region. Things got really interesting in 2025. Nationally, over 75,000 federal workers opted for deferred resignation or took buyouts early in the year. Maryland lost 5.4% of its federal workforce, Virginia 4.8%, and DC lost 1.9% between January and May. Meanwhile, 22,100 federal employees left the DMV area in just the first 5 months of the year. Now, the military and contractors add even more movement. There are about 1.4 million active duty military personnel nationwide, and many are stationed around DC. Defense contractors are concentrated in Northern Virginia and Maryland suburbs, and they move a lot depending on contract awards and project needs. This means neighborhoods can change really fast. Local businesses can have a hard time keeping steady customers because people are always moving in and out. School numbers can jump up or down from year to year because of these shifts. The feeling of long-term community that you might see in other cities is harder to build here because so many people see DC as a temporary stop. A lot of residents stay in short-term housing since they are not sure about how long they will be around. But here's the upside. All this movement brings in smart, ambitious people from all over the country and world. That creates an energy and diversity you will not find anywhere else. The conversations you can have at a coffee shop or at a bar here are like anywhere else you experience in most American cities. Now, after everything I've told you about costs and challenges, you might be wondering why anyone would choose to live here. Here's the thing, even with all the challenges we talked about, DC still has this amazing pool that keeps people coming back and staying longer than they thought. The culture here is unlike anywhere else in the country. You have free museums through the Smithsonian that give endless chances to learn and explore. Plus, historic neighborhoods like Georgetown, Capitol Hill, and Adams Morgan each have their own vibe, and you can walk between them on a nice day. And the embassies add even more diversity with food, cultural events, and networking that you just can't get anywhere else in US. But something that really surprised me when I looked at the numbers is how walkable the city is in the right neighborhoods. DC's overall walk score is 77, which is considered very walkable. But places like U Street score 99, DuPont hits 98, and downtown reaches 97, which is called Walker's Paradise. This affects your budget because people in walkable neighborhoods spend 12% of their income on transportation compared to 15% in car-heavy areas. And since DC is just 68 square miles, you can get a huge variety of experiences without traveling far. Jobs are still strong too, even with the federal workforce changes. Tech, healthcare, education, and professional services complement government work. The median salary in the area is around $108,000, well above the national average. Jobs in lobbying, consulting, and law offer high pay that is hard to find in other cities. And here's something else surprising about real estate. Even with fewer federal workers, home values stay steady around 3 to 5% growth year over year. International buyers treat DC as a gateway city, which helps keep property values strong. This is not just a government town anymore. It's become a true international city with all the perks that come with it. Infrastructure and amenities make the higher costs worth it for many people. The metro systems connect 98 stations across 129 miles when it is running well. Top universities and research centers fill the area with intellectual energy. Amazing medical facilities serve the region too. So many professionals. The mix of jobs, culture, and convenience creates a unique appeal. Access to influence, knowledge, and opportunities make the higher cost of living worth it for a lot of people. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Living in DC area is expensive, and there are daily things that can be tough. Traffic will test your patience, and housing costs will stretch your budget. This is not a choice to make lightly, but here's what I've learned after years in the city. The people who do well here are the ones who go in with their eyes wide open. They get the costs, plan for the challenges, and make a point of enjoying everything this amazing city has to offer. Having said that, if you're really thinking about moving to DC, let's talk. Reach out to me at ryan@coalitionpg.com so we can discuss what your need is. DC is an amazing city, and I want to help you find your dream home. And before you go, check out my next video linked right here. I go deeper into DC's cost of living with numbers that will surprise you and details you can only get here. If you are moving to DC in 2025, you have to watch this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.